Picture this. It's a quiet Tuesday morning. You're having your cornflakes, scrolling through the news, when suddenly, wham! Labour drops a political hand grenade that makes your breakfast milk go sour. Angela Rayner has just launched what might be the most savage political attack of the year. And guess who's in her crosshairs? That's right, Nigel Farage. But this isn't your garden variety Westminster mudslinging. Oh no. This is Labour linking the Brexit poster boy to Andrew Tate. Yes, that Andrew Tate. And the internet is absolutely losing its collective mind. Now, before you spit your tea out in shock, let me paint you the full picture of this political car crash that's unfolding faster than a motorway pile-up in thick fog. Labour has just published an attack ad that got more explosive potential than Guy Fawkes' shopping list, featuring Farage posing with controversial influencer Andrew Tate and highlighting Nigel's claim that Tate is an important voice for men. That's like saying a hurricane is an important voice for weather. Technically true, but you probably don't want to invite it to your garden party. The timing of this attack couldn't be more surgical if it was performed by a Harley Street surgeon with a political science degree. Angela Rayner, Deputy PM and Labour's attack dog extraordinaire, has chosen this moment to unleash hell over Reform UK's promise to scrap the Online Safety Act. She's arguing that Farage's plan would basically turn the internet into the Wild West, but instead of cowboys and tumbleweeds, would have revenge porn and digital abuse running rampant like social media bandits. Rayner didn't hold back when she declared that Farage risks failing a generation of young women with his dangerous and irresponsible plans. She painted a picture darker than a British winter afternoon, warning about floodgates of abuse opening up if online safety laws get the chop. It's dramatic language that would make Shakespeare proud, but the political theatre here is absolutely real. Rayner's essentially saying that scrapping these safeguards without a replacement plan is like removing all the traffic lights in London and hoping for the best, which, let's face it, would be absolute chaos. But here's where the plot thickens like gravy left too long on the hob. Reform UK sources are having absolutely none of this. They responded with a kind of dignified silence that screams louder than a football crowd at Wembley. A source close to Farage told the Express that Nigel wouldn't dignify Labour's attack ad with a response, especially after what they called spurious allegations about siding with child predators such as Jimmy Savile. Ouch! That's political hardball with cricket bat force. The Reform camp is clearly feeling the heat, but they are trying to play it cooler than a penguin in a freezer. Channeling their inner Michelle Obama, they declared, "When they go low, we will go high." It's a noble sentiment, though one has to wonder if taking the high road in British politics is like bringing a butter knife to a sword fight, admirable, but potentially ineffective. Now, let's rewind the tape to where this whole mess started brewing. Last year on the Strike It Big podcast, Farage made some comment about Andrew Tate that are now coming back to haunt him like a political ghost of Christmas past. He argued that Tate was a very important voice for an emasculated generation, claiming that young men were being told they can't be blokes and that masculinity is something we should look down upon. Farage painted a picture of gender roles getting more mixed up than a jigsaw puzzle in a washing machine, saying men are becoming feminine and the women are becoming masculine, and it's a bit difficult to tell these days who's what. The Reform leader went on to defend Tate's approach, suggesting he was asking legitimate questions like what's wrong with being a bloke? What's wrong in male culture? According to Farage, Tate was running a campaign of raising awareness and giving people perhaps a bit of confidence. It's like defending a tornado by saying it's just helping people appreciate calm weather. Technically an argument, but not exactly what you'd call compelling. But wait, there's more political intrigue brewing in the Westminster pressure cooker. This weekend brought news that would make any political thriller writer jealous with envy. Number 10 has apparently assembled what they are calling a dedicated attack team focused specifically on Reform UK. It's being directed by the PM's right-hand man Morgan McSweeney, which is like having the political equivalent of a military strategist plotting your downfall over morning coffee and digestive biscuits. The Spectator revealed that this attack unit isn't just going after Farage directly. Oh no, that would be too simple. They are targeting the people around him, the advisors and supporters who keep the Reform machine running. It's like political warfare where they're not just aiming for the general, but trying to dismantle his entire army piece by piece. It's strategic, it's calculated, and it's absolutely ruthless. Meanwhile, Reform isn't taking these attacks lying down like a sleeping dog. They wheeled out their heavy artillery in the form of Layla Cunningham, a high-profile female reform councillor who's hitting back harder than a tennis ball at Wimbledon. Cunningham fired back with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. You don't protect women by silencing speech. You protect them by securing borders, enforcing the law, and locking up actual criminals. It's a classic reform response that manages to pivot from online safety to immigration faster than you can say Brexit means Brexit. Cunningham didn't stop there, though. She launched into Labour with the enthusiasm of a Black Friday shopper, claiming that women are more unsafe than ever before thanks to Labour. She promised that reform will always prioritise prosecuting abuse but will never let women's safety be hijacked to justify censorship. It's like arguing that the best way to prevent house fires is not by installing smoke alarms, but by making sure the fire service works properly, a valid point, but missing the bigger picture entirely. The Reform councillor even threw down the gauntlet, challenging Jess Phillips, the Minister for Women and Safeguarding, to debate on the Online Safety Act. It's political theatre at its finest, like a modern-day duel but with policy papers instead of pistols. Labour, meanwhile, isn't backing down from this fight. They are armed with statistics that would make a data analyst weep, claiming that almost 1 million young women have experienced intimate image abuse in England and Wales. That's not just a number. That's nearly 1 million personal tragedies, 1 million violations, 1 million reasons why this debate matters more than political point scoring. The Labour argument is straightforward as a motorway. The Online Safety Act makes sharing intimate images without consent a priority offence, putting it in the most serious class of online crime. They're essentially saying that scrapping this protection would be like removing seatbelts from cars because they are occasionally uncomfortable, technically possible, but spectacularly dangerous. Angela Rayner threw down her own challenge, demanding that it's time for Farage to tell women and girls across Britain how he would keep them safe online. It's a direct hit that puts reform in an uncomfortable position. They either have to defend their policy with concrete alternatives or risk looking like they don't care about women's safety online. This whole political slugfest reveals something fascinating about where British politics has ended up in 2025. We've got Labour using attack ads that would make American political consultants proud, Reform trying to take the moral high ground while defending controversial figures, and the entire debate happening in the shadow of online safety and digital rights. It's like watching a Victorian morality play performed on social media. Familiar themes in a completely alien setting. The Andrew Tate connection is particularly toxic for Reform because it touches on something deeper than policy disagreements. Tate represents a brand of masculinity that many find deeply problematic, and associating with him is like hugging a political hand grenade. For Farage to have called him an important voice is the kind of quote that opposition research teams dream about finding. It's damaging, it's quotable, and it's impossible to explain away without looking worse. But here's the really interesting bit. This attack reveals Labour's strategy for dealing with Reform UK. They are not just treating them as a protest vote or temporary annoyance. By assembling a dedicated attack team and launching sophisticated political operations, Labour is acknowledging that Reform represents a genuine threat to their electoral prospects. It's like watching David size up Goliath and deciding he needs better stones. The gender politics angle is particularly clever because it puts Reform in an impossible position. They can either defend their association with figures like Andrew Tate and risk alienating women voters, or they can distance themselves and risk looking inconsistent to their male supporter base. It's a political checkmate that would make chess grandmasters applaud. What's really happening here is a battle for the soul of British politics, fought on the digital battlefield of online safety. On one side, you've got Labour arguing that government intervention is necessary to protect vulnerable people from digital abuse. On the other, Reform is arguing that free speech matters more than safety regulations, and that the solution to online abuse is better law enforcement, not more censorship. Both sides have valid points buried in their political posturing. Online safety laws can indeed become tools of censorship if badly designed or maliciously applied. But the alternative, a completely unregulated digital Wild West, isn't exactly appealing either, especially if you're a woman who's experienced revenge porn or a teenager facing online bullying. The irony is that while politicians argue about who's tougher on protecting women online, millions of British women are experiencing digital abuse right now, waiting for someone to actually do something rather than just score political points. It's like watching people argue about the best way to put out a fire while the house burns down around them. This attack also reveals how fundamentally the political landscape has shifted. 10 years ago, a politician's comments on a relatively obscure podcast wouldn't have become front-page news. Now, everything is recorded, everything is permanent, and everything can become a political weapon. Farage's Andrew Tate comments are a perfect example of how the internet never forgets, and how past statements can explode into present controversies faster than you can delete a tweet. The timing of Number 10's attack team revelation is also significant. It shows that Labour isn't just reacting to reform's rise, they're actively strategizing to contain it. It's like watching a chess match where one player is thinking several moves ahead while the other is still figuring out how the pieces move. As this political food fight continues to unfold, one thing is crystal clear. British politics has become more American in its tactics, more personal in its attacks, and more digital in its battlegrounds. We're watching the evolution of political warfare in real time, and it's both fascinating and slightly terrifying. The question now is whether Farage's strategy of staying above the fray will work, or whether Labour's attack dog approach will successfully paint Reform as a party that doesn't take women's safety seriously. In politics, perception often matters more than reality, and right now, Labour is working overtime to shape that perception. Thanks for watching UK Pancakes today. If this political bloodbath between Rayner and Farage got your pulse racing faster than a Westminster scandal, smash that like button, subscribe for more political drama analysis, and drop a comment telling us what you think. Is Labour's attack on Farage fair game, or are they going too far? Let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next video where we'll probably be unpacking whatever fresh political chaos erupts next in the wonderful world of British politics.